Yo, what's up, guys? A little bit of a clickbaity video here, but I've had this kind of video in my head due to the Adcc and Craig Jones back and forth thing that's going on. And I'll speak on that a little bit, but I also wanted to talk about Adcc, grappling rule sets, and whatnot as a whole. So everyone's probably seen, if you follow grappling, Adcc is supposedly one of the most prestigious overall grappling tournaments, and it has this reputation of, oh, it's the best tournament for wrestlers. It's such like a wrestling heavy rule set. And I don't necessarily agree, but the whole issue is grappler pay. They're not paying grapplers, enough is the whole idea. The prize money has been the same since like the 90s when the league formed. So Craig Jones is making his own tournament, kind of trolling and paying the grapplers just to show up and paying $1 million for the winners. So that's huge. That's going to get more money in the sport of grappling and attention and pay for grappling. So overall, I'm massively in favor of that. When it comes to Adcc, I've watched it, obviously. You got to respect a lot of the great grapplers. It's a good tournament. I've wanted to do the trials before. I actually signed up to do one of the trials, but I was jumping the gun, and it was way too soon after I'd recovered from a bicep surgery. Signed up not being able to do it. It is a rule set I would like to compete in, so I can't really crap on it too much without having experience in it. So the rules of it, with the no scoring in the beginning half of it to allow for submissions to open up, in theory, yeah, it's nice, it's cool. I like that there's no points in the beginning and you can just go for it. But what happens is most guys just end up stalling through that position or through that time period and then just waiting to play the points for the second half of the match, which is pretty lame. When it comes to it being the best style for wrestlers or the best rule set favoring wrestling, just because there's a -1 for pulling guard at times, they still don't count takedowns to turtle. If you take a guy down and he goes to hands and knees, that's a takedown in literally every universal wrestling or grappling style, except in Adcc. If you get taken down to your butt or your guard or side control and you're holding the guy down, that's a takedown in their rule set. But if the guy turtles, suddenly it's not a takedown. I think that's ridiculous. And I'm in favor of rules where there's more than one scoring for takedown. Like a regular takedown could be 1, a big takedown could be worth 2, or like a high amplitude takedown could be worth 3, 4, 5 points. You gotta reward the action, And if the guy's getting taken down and just going to turtle, like I said, a majority of wrestling styles, and even just from a control standpoint, that is a takedown. So I think that's kind of lame. There's a lot of really bad hand fighting too. To say it's the best wrestling tournament, it ends up being 2 guys that's majority, ground game. They don't have a sophisticated wrestling game because they're mostly focused on jiu-jitsu and the groundwork and the submissions that they, end up having to face each other in a stand-up battle. And some of the worst matches in Adcc, some of the worst grappling matches I've ever watched, was 2 guys in Adcc just hand fighting and not really committing or doing anything. So, yeah, I don't know. I also think there should be a push-out rule. Like, if you got a big mat, especially for finals matches, and you keep getting pushed out of bounds, like, make it a 1-point push-out, like freestyle wrestling, like a sumo style. And another thing is their stalling calls make no sense. I remember watching Craig Jones being held down, and the guy was kicking his ass on points and controlling him, but he really wasn't trying to advance, and he was just stalling and holding, obviously, and he got, I don't even remember, I think like 11 penalty points. That should be a DQ by then. At that point, if you're avoiding the match and fight to that level, like, that should be a DQ. So I do like it. I like Adcc. I respect it. I'm not even trying to really talk crap. That's just clickbait title of the video, taking advantage of a trend. I do think that it's not the best. I think it's overhyped as the wrestler's style. I would still like to compete in it one day perhaps, and I have competed against some guys who've done really well in the trials or made it to Adcc, and beat some, lost to some, had some battles with some, but I know I'm on that level with it, and yeah, I would like to try it out. But as far as perfect rule sets, I don't know. I don't really think there is one. I like when matches can go on like longer time limits to just decide whether it's catch wrestling with a pin and submission or jiu-jitsu with a submission 10-20 minutes, and if no one gets it, then maybe you judge it, maybe you go to some sort of an overtime. There's really no perfect way, but I definitely don't think that ADCC is the premier one to make it exciting, and I think that the CJI Craig Jones Invitational will be exciting and going to bring a lot of money and attention to the sport and force it to level up overall. So that's really my thoughts on that. I'll see you guys in the next one.